Hello everyone, welcome to Palword. This is my new channel where I try to help people learn about the new Palworld card game. I'm going to talk about what cards and decks are the strongest in each set, try to grow this new community. My name's Doczilla, I'm going to be your host today. Today we're doing a tier list of the structures that are currently available in the Palworld TCG. There's 26 of them from the Dawn of Palpagos booster packs and the 2 trial decks we have. I'm going to rank them from F to S based on how much value they bring and how worth it they are to put in your deck. We're going to start with the blue structures. A lot of these like to draw cards. They like to claw through your deck. They like to synergize a little bit with this antique engine they're using. We're going to go more into that. I think it could use some more support if it's going to be worthwhile. First card we're going to go through is Antique Mirror. This card only costs 1. It has 1,000 health. And on deploy, it draws a card. Keep in mind you have to spend this card to draw the card, so it basically is just a deck thinning tool, which is pretty good in some card games. I'm not sure how strong it's going to be in this yet. You can play 4 of them, so you can basically run a 46 card deck if you want outside of this. I mean, it's only 1 soul, so it's just, is it worth it to use 1 soul to start thinning your deck? It doesn't really count as a card draw because if you had a different card in your hand and then you spent 3 souls to draw a different card, then you're at 2. It's not bad. I mean, it is only 1 soul. It has 1,000 health, so it'll stay alive. If you have any pals that gain power based on having more structures, it synergizes with that a little bit, but it's not going to win you the game on its own. So I think realistically, the highest it can go is C tier. I'm not even sure if it's worth that, but that's where we're going to put it for now. Next is the Antique Wooden Chair. This is a 2 soul cost. It's also an on deploy. You choose 1 pal, or 0, it's up to 1. Choose 1 pal, and it gets 1,000 power for 1 turn. For 1,000 power, it's gonna win any one-on-one fight as long as it doesn't get blocked. I think, if anything, 1,000 is a little overkill. I think most of your battles, 700, 500 power will win it most of the time. It still will win the fight 90% of the time. It costs 2 souls, and it is only the 1 on deploy. So it doesn't get that much benefit. I also think most bases try to get more than 1 pal, and they have some flexibility blocking attacks, either with a card in their hand or with a different pal in the base. So I don't think this is a very strong card. I think most of the time I'd rather have some other 2 cost in my hand than this one. I don't think it's that worthwhile. I think most other cards are better, so I'm going to put this one in D tier. Next is the Spear Workbench. Now this one is also a 2 soul cost. It only has 900 health. You assign a pal and draw 2 cards, and then choose 1 in your hand to discard it. You can only do it once a turn, but overall I think this is by far the strongest effect we have so far. Drawing 2 is always going to be a strong effect, and this is not a 1-for-1 like the antique wooden or like the antique mirror, because you can actually reuse this every turn as long as you have a pal to assign. So I think this is easily stronger than that. You still have to have the free pal to assign, but I think it's worth it to draw 2 cards. And then you get to choose 1 and discard it. Keep in mind, some cards actually do get benefit and advantage being discarded, like a Lease Punk. So this one, I think, can be splashed basically in any deck that runs blue. I don't see any real downsides to this card because you still get to choose what you discard. So for that, I'm going to put it in A tier. I think it's good in just about any deck. It's not going to necessarily win you the game, but it's strong. Next, we have the Primitive Workbench. This is a 3 cost. Once a turn, you can assign a pal, reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a 6 or less structure or gear, you can deploy it for free. If you don't deploy it, add it to your hand. This one feels fairly strong, at least. 3 souls is not that high. It's not nothing, but It's not that high. You get to look at the top card. It depends on if you're running a deck that uses a fair amount of strong structures and gears. And keep in mind, every structure costs 6 or less, and the only gear that costs more than that is the shotgun right now. So this, if it's 6 or less, you can deploy it, is basically just any structure or gear. It's only the top card of your deck though, so there's some luck to that. The upside is if it's not, you at least get to add that card to your hand. So it's basically just assign a PAL and at minimum draw a card. I think that this is a pretty strong card. A lot of gears naturally have the on deploy ability, and I don't think the gears are necessarily that strong yet, but a lot of them at least get some decent value. And for 3 souls, I think it's worth it. At a minimum, you get a thin your deck and you get the card draw. If it costs 2, it would be game breaking. 3, I still think is very strong, and so I'm also going to put this one in A tier. I'm not sure it's definitely not as flexible as Spear Workbench, so we're going to put it after that, but pretty strong. Let's see. Next we have, we're going to do the Antique Dresser. Antique Dresser is another 4 cost. You discard a card and then declare a card name. Choose all of your cards and they get that declared name in addition till the end of their turn. And then the second effect is you discard any number of cards from your hand, choose any number of those pals, and they get 1,000 and the strike. The extra strike is pretty nice. It's something that the Antique Wooden Chair doesn't give. It's just 1,000 attack. For 4, I don't think this is very strong. The first effect is so niche right now. There are a couple cards that work pretty well with it, like Elizabeth with the bee guards, or maybe you specifically want a gear that synergizes, like the Dig Toys headband or the Fox Sparks harness. That this could be used with that. Maybe like the Pen King and the Pen Gullet, where they all get 700. Keep in mind, you can change strong pals names then to Pen Gullet, so they might already be at 1,500 power and then get the 700 on top of it, which that could be pretty strong, but that's, I don't know, for 4 souls, that's pretty difficult, especially because there's so many cards you need to go along with it. The second effect is definitely better. You do still have to discard, which is, I don't love discarding most of the time. I think there's not that much advantage, and you only get to do it to that number of pals. I mean, if you discard 2 or 3, you're going to be winning fights, and that is fairly strong. And you get the extra strike, which can be pretty good to try to go for game, but you're kind of setting yourself up for a big disadvantage the next turn. At 4 souls, I don't think it's that strong. I mean, you can reuse them every turn, and you don't have to assign any pals, which is nice, but it's just so niche. I think at most, the first effect is worth 1 or 2 souls at best, and the second one, I still think 4 is too high. So I am going to put this in D tier for now. I think it's too hard to build around. You need too much going for you to actually use it. I'm actually... Antique Wooden Chair is probably still easier to use. Next, we have the Antique Curtain, and spoilers, this is not a good card. Not at all. So the Antique Curtain costs 5 souls. Pretty damn expensive for a structure. It's only on deploy. You choose any number of your opponent's pals and return them to your hand, but that has to be the number of different cards you have in play with Antique in their name. And it can't be duplicates. They have to be different names. So at max, there are 4 right now. So for 5 souls, you can return 4 pals to your opponent's hand if you have all of them, all the Antique cards already in your base, and none of them have been destroyed. And you have 5 souls to spend on this. And then they just go back to the hand. Even if you exiled their pals or sent them to the grave, I don't think this would be that strong. All of your structures have to be in the base. I mean, they're not the biggest target for your opponent to destroy, but they're not. They might. I don't think this is strong at all. I think that the Antique Engine right now is really bad, and I think this does absolutely nothing for it. It's yeah. This one is going to be an F tier. It's currently, I would say it's unplayable. The last blue structure is the Hot Spring. The Hot Spring costs 6. Very expensive. It only has 1,000 health too, so for that much you'd expect it to at least have some security. Once a turn, you can assign a pal, choose 2 6 souls or less pals, and rest them. They don't get stood on your opponent's next turn. I mean, naturally, you're only going to use them on your opponent's pals. I don't see any real use to using them on your pals. You can do it every turn, which kind of can stall your opponent out pretty well. But you can only use it on 6 cost or less pals. I don't think that's very useful. If you could use it on 8 or less, well, then this would automatically be very strong. Even so, 1,000 health, it's not hard to destroy. They can always just use their souls, bring out other stuff to try to destroy this. And then you still don't actually have any easy way to destroy your opponent's pals. You still have to spend other cards to do it. It's not useless. It's just, it's too expensive for what it does. I think it's still D tier. It's just, it's not that strong. It's okay. Maybe C tier. It's just, if you're spending the 6 souls on it, you only have 4 left that turn. So you're not going to be able to destroy your opponent's pals very easily, even if you rest them. They don't, I mean, if you use every turn, maybe you can try to build something on your board, but it's probably the best in D tier. But I think deck thinning is simpler and easier to splash and probably better. Especially since it costs the pal to assign too, which is another one that you can't use to attack your opponent. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Next, we're going to go on to the green structures. Sorry, my cat's freaking out. The green structures are pretty fun. They have a lot more synergy than the blue ones. They revolve a lot more around the ingredient resource, which is pretty easy to get and has pretty good effects. They're good at giving you life back, which can be useful, and they can also give you souls back, which is extremely useful. We're going to start with the, let's see, I'm going to switch this. First is the berry plantation. Where's that? This. Only 1 cost. Once a turn, you assign a pal and get 3 ingredient resources and draw a card. I think automatically it's better than almost anything blue has. I mean, it's not better than the sphere workbench because that's draw 2 and discard 1, but it's just kind of neck and neck with that. 3 resources just for 1 pal. I mean, most of the effects that you'll use cost 1 or 2. So 3 means you probably don't even have to necessarily use this the following turn. You just have the option and the free card draw for only 1 soul. This is, yeah, there's no downsides to this card except for having to assign a pal. But you're going to use this early game most of the time anyway. So yeah, this is easily A tier. For what it does for green, because a lot of green likes to use the ingredients, it's definitely pretty strong. Is it stronger than a draw 2? Maybe not. It's at least going to go above the primitive workbench, I think. Next, we have the ranch, which is a pretty similar card. It is 2 souls, and you once again assign a pal, draw a card, and this time you get the option of 3 ingredients or 3 materials, which means you can use it with red. I mean, the flexibility there's kind of useful, but only if you're running green-red, because this was a green card. So that's the only option is if you run green-red, if you want to do that. I think most of the time people use this are just going to be using it on top of Berry Plantation to make it more consistent in their deck. The only other upside I can kind of see, you see this work suitability and how it's farming. Right now, if you run the B deck, with Elizabeth and Beadguard. Beadguard gets stronger if you have a farming structure in play. And the berry plantation is not farming. So if you're specifically running the bees, which I still can't decide if the bees are any good or not. They're fun. They're fun at least. Because you can kind of spam a bunch of bees at once and you can put 40 of them in your deck if you want. There's no limit. It's not bad. I would say because it costs one more soul, it automatically is not instantly as good as Berry Plantation. And I don't think having the 3 resources necessarily is good. I haven't seen anyone run ingredients and materials in the same deck. I think maybe that could be fun. It only has 800 health too, which is, if you're killing the 600 berry plantation, you can probably kill the 800 ranch. At a minimum, it is not as good as berry plantation. It's definitely not bad. This could be the only resource getter for green, and it would still be okay. I don't think it can go any lower than B. It might even be the bottom of A, but I'm going to put it in B for now just because the berry plantation is better. Next, we have the feed box, and the feed box is good. 2 souls only, 900 health. Once a turn, consume only 1 ingredient. Increase your soul by 1 card in the rest state, and if you have 10 before increasing, choose 2 and stand them. If you get this early game, the first part of the effect is good. We're increasing your soul by 1 in the rest state. It's only realistic to use it turn like 2 or 3. And then even then you only go up by 1. So instead of being at 6 souls, you go up to 7. For your following turn, you go up to 9. It's not bad, but it's not that good. It's the second part of the effect. The second part is why you're going to use it. Most of the game, you're going to be at 10 souls. Having a free consume 1 to stand 2 souls means you basically get 12 every round as long as you have any kind of ingredient deck. 1 is very affordable, and you don't even have to assign a pal. It's the fact that you don't have to assign the pal is broken. This card is easily, I think, our first S tier. 12 souls is just, it instantly gives you way more combos. Think about like, say you're running the dragon deck in blue. Chillet costs 5, and Alpha Dran Aqua costs 6. So you can't use them with 10 souls, but Alpha Dran lets you draw 2 and place a card on top of your deck. So imagine you could use that, and then you have 7 souls left, or 6 more souls left to use the Chillet, and have that guaranteed combo piece work. It would be fantastic. So green blue automatically gets boosted if you play this combo with the feed box. And there's a lot more combos than that. It's really easy to use 12 souls. 10 is pretty constrictive. So easily this is going into S tier. Next we have the Campfire. Let's see. The Campfire is a 3 cost, 1100 health, so it's definitely bulkier. Once a turn, you consume 2 ingredients and assign the pal. So that's the downside, is you have to do both, which is a little resource constrictive. You gain a life, choose all of your pals, and they get 1000 attack. You don't gain any strike, so that's the downside. I think strike is a lot stronger than attack. It definitely has a pretty high resource cost, because even if you have your berry plantation or ranch in play, you're using most of it on this, and you have to assign the pal, which is one that you can't attack with then, even if it gains the 1000 power. Life is useful for dragging out games, especially if you are a kind of deck that gets stronger in later turns and doesn't start that strong. So it's definitely not bad. And it does give it to all of your pals. So if you have 4 or 5 in your base and they're all getting 1000, once again, like the B deck that likes to do that, like the dragon deck, it doesn't even have to be a green pal. It's just all of your pals, and that is not bad. That you can definitely flip the entire board just like that. It just is kind of a high resource cost, and you do have to assign the pal. It's at least C tier. You do have to kind of play around it, but I think you get more benefit than deck thinning right now. So I'm going to put it in front of Antique Mirror. I think that's fair. Next, we have the Breeding Farm. The Breeding Farm I don't think is as strong as the other ones so far. So it's 3 cost, 1100 power, health. Once it does have 2 effects. Once a turn, you can consume 2 of your ingredients, reveal the top card of your deck, and add it to your hand. If it's an 8 or less PAL. Keep in mind, all the PALs in the game right now are 8 or less. Otherwise, you have to put into the graveyard, though, which kind of sucks. If it might be a good structure, it might be a good gear, and you just have to immediately discard it. And it's only the top card. If it was look at the top 5 and pick, instantly worth the 2 ingredients, but it's not. The second part is a little stronger. Consume 2 ingredients, assign 2 PALs. So that is a huge cost. And then choose an 8 or less PAL from your hand and deploy it for free. You get to deploy it in the stand state, not the resting state, so that's something. You can still use it that turn. Keep in mind, you can use both effects. If you have 4 ingredients and you really, say you have 8 or 10 and you just might as well spend it, then it's kind of useful. Reveal the top card, you might get a really strong PAL. And then you can use the second part to immediately use it for free without any souls. Keep in mind, this, other than the 3 souls to summon this, it doesn't have any soul cost. It's still bad. The first ability is bad. It's not a good searcher. And the second ability, 2 PALs. Ugh. Even if you get an 8 cost for free, which you probably won't, I most of the time would rather have 2 PALs already in the base. It's too much. 2 PALs is too much. Yeah. I don't think it's as bad as Antique Curtain, so it's going in D tier. It's definitely worse than the Hot Spring. It's if you already have an 8 or less, and it's only 2 ingredients, you still have to spend the 2 to assign, but there's a use for it if it's already in your hand. So I'll put it in front of Antique Dresser just because I don't think Antique Dresser is very good. But Breeding Farm is not a good card. Okay, next is the No Pals Beyond sign. This one is interesting. So it is a 5 cost, which again, unless something is game breaking, I think for something to be 4 souls or more as a structure, it has to be really strong. So this one's a 5. You can use it once a turn, but you do have to assign a PAL. The PAL assigned to this gets a new skill. It gets the Taunt skill, which I think the jury's still out on how strong Taunt is. I think there's just a fair amount of ways right now to destroy PALs with Taunt outside of battle. Strike from the Darkness. A lot of the red gears, like the single shot rifle, are getting a lot of play right now. I think Taunt is still strong if you put it on something really bulky. If you put it on a Mammarest, if you put it on a Menacing, that at least your opponent definitely has to play around that. If you put it on a Mammarest, they have to spend multiple cards probably to destroy it. And you can re-put the skill every turn. You do have to spend the PAL, which kind of sucks. But if you put Taunt on the right PALs, I think it is fairly strong. It's not going to win you the game, but it's not bad. For that reason, I think it deserves probably B. I think in the right deck, Taunt can still be pretty strong. It's not as good as the Ranch, no way, but especially for 5 cost. But I think B, if you use it on the right bulky PALs, it's worth it. It'll be good at draining your opponent's resources and time at least. They'll have to spend a lot of souls to get over it. And the fact that once it's out, you can reuse it. I think B is probably fair. The last green one is the Cola vending machine. When I first started playing, I wasn't sure. It was kind of confusing. I mean, it's a 6 cost, which is automatically intimidating. It does have 1500 health. The ability is probably the most broken of any structure right now. Once a turn, assign a PAL and consume any number of ingredients. You automatically get to choose 1 soul and then stand it, and then 3 times the number of ingredients you spent, you get to stand those souls. This is absolutely broken right now. You, in most decks, can never get above 10 souls. Green is basically the only one that can do it. With this card, you can pretty easily get to 20, which is It's ridiculous. I already said 12 was strong. 20 is broken. It only costs 3 ingredients. Keep that in mind. So you assign 1 pal, spend 3 ingredients, and then you get 9 plus the 1. So even if you want to use it the turn you bring this out, it's still a huge plus advantage. You spend the 6, say you spend a 4 on some random pal, maybe a Damud or something, assign it, spend 3, which it has to be in a deck where you make ingredients. But as we showed before with the ranch and the berry plantation, that's not hard. Spend the 3, and then you're back up to 10. The same turn you already brought out a pal and this. Keep in mind, if they don't kill this, which 1500 health is pretty good. If they don't kill it, next turn you get 20. As long as you have the 3 to spend, you don't have to pay the 6 for this again. You get to bring out an 8 and a 2, or maybe just bring out the 8 and then you spend 2 ingredients to get 7 back instead of 10. Then you get you still get another lucky pal or another really strong pal or a shotgun or whatever you want. The flexibility, and you can do it every turn. As long as you spend 1 pal, you can keep using the berry plantation every turn too. This is the most broken structure. It's one of the most broken cards. It might be the most broken card. This is top of S instantly. Feedbox is good. This is better. This is instantly top of S to me. That's the last green one. So now we go on to red. I think red is good too, but I don't think it's as good as green. I think the materials are just not as... They're more aggressive, but not as versatile. So the first one we have... Gotta switch this over. Similar to the berry plantation, it's the stone pit. It's nearly identical. Cost 1, 600 health still. Assign a pal, 3 materials, draw a card. There's not much to say. It's the exact same as berry plantation. Maybe there's cards that'll have a work suitability with collecting. I don't think there's much right now. Can't knock it though. It's only costs 1. It's the start of the deck. It's great. It doesn't do anything wrong. It's at least tied with berry plantation because I think there's more cards that can use ingredients than materials well right now. I don't know. Like I said, you don't ever need to use more than 3 ingredients. There are red structures that'll use more than 3. So I'll put this in front of berry plantation just for that reason, but they're basically identical. Next, we're going to do the primitive furnace. So this one is a 2. 800 power is pretty similar to the ranch, but different. The ranch was you get ingredients or materials. This one, you can get 3 materials and draw the card, but it also has you can consume any number of materials and reduce the cost of your next gear by that number, but it can't go down to 0. Like I said before, I didn't think the ranch for its versatility was going to use that versatility that much. The red gears are not weak. They're decent. I don't think they're that strong. I really don't. I don't think the shotgun is as strong as people have been using it. It's too expensive. If you have a lot of materials, and keep in mind, you can use both of these effects at once. So, or in the same turn. And you don't have to assign a pal either for the consume, so it's not bad. If you have a whole bunch of them to spend, well then sure, you could use it on the single shot rifle or the shotgun. I think the biggest hang up I have with this is that it can't go to 0. So no matter what, you have to pay something. And it's only for the next gear. So you can't use multiple gears in one turn with this. It's still not bad. I can't knock it. I think it's probably, for its versatility, marginally better than the ranch, but barely. I don't know. Like I was saying, if you run green-red, ranch is not bad. It's basically the same as berry plantation. In a red deck, is ranch better than primitive furnace? No, it's not, because it's worth it to be able to use blue or purple. So this is going to go top of B. think that's fair. Next is the Flame Cauldron. Yeah. It's still a 2 cost. It's another material maker. All of your pals get plus 200, which keep in mind a lot of red decks like to use that. They like to spam low power pals. They like to use gears and then use the plus 200 after that. There's a couple lucky red pals that like to give little buffs. So all of your red getting plus 200 is useful. Doesn't work on other colors, but it's not bad. And then the other one is every time you deploy a red, you get a material. So that is some flexibility because you don't have to assign those pals. So it is only one material, which, like I was saying earlier, some of the red pals and red structures like to use a fair amount of materials. In the right kind of cheap pal spammy deck, this is a great card. It doesn't have that much health, but it definitely has its use. And because you don't have to assign the pal, you get consistent value as long as your opponent doesn't destroy it. Is it better than the Primitive Furnace? Yeah. If you're spamming a lot of red pals, you only have to assign 1 to get 3. That's pretty nice. You can use that every turn, and that grows pretty fast. Even if you load your deck with a lot of cheap pals, I don't think it's worth it to thin your deck by spamming a bunch just to get materials for this. So I'm going to put it below Primitive Furnace. For what the ranch does for green, ranch is better, so I'm going to put it right here. It's still a resource maker, and it's not bad. So as much as I like the No Pals Beyond, sometimes I'm going to put this ahead of it, just because I think resources are going to continue to be strong. Next, we have the Weapon Workbench. So this is a 3 cost. 1100 health is not bad. Once a turn, consume 1 material and assign 1 pal. Then you get to choose 1 pal, an opposing one, and deal 800 damage. And then all of your pals get a strike. Strike is, like I was saying, pretty good. Strike is how you win games. There's a lot of luck to it, naturally. But the fact that if you spam your base with, like, say, 4 pals and they all get a strike, your opponent's not blocking all of those. They're not discarding or using an interrupt like a Fox Sparks on all of those. So no matter what, it's getting value. And the fact that you only have to assign 1 pal to buff all your other ones, that's pretty good value too. Only costs 1 material, which is, like we showed, pretty easy to make. And you get to choose 1 opposing pal and deal 800 damage. That can be just getting rid of one of their blockers. That can be weakening one of their strong pals to make it easy for one of your smaller pals to beat. I like the versatility of this one a lot. I like that you can do it every turn. It's not just an on deploy. It's definitely a threat for your opponent. So they definitely need to spend the resources to destroy it, making it definitely a lot stronger right away. Yeah, I think this one can definitely go in A tier. Is it as good as the basic? Is it better than Primitive Workbench? I'm not going to put it above the resource ones. Primitive Workbench is still pretty good for looking at the top card and deploying it for free if it's a structure or gear. But like I was saying, I don't think most of those are that strong except for the Cola Vending Machine. So I am going to put the Weapon Workbench in front of it for now. But they're both good in their own decks. Next, we have the Alarm Bell, which is kind of an interesting one. Gotta get back to where it was. The Alarm Bell, still 3 souls, 1100 health again, so still fairly bulky. You have to spend a soul to use its skill, which I don't like. I think souls, I don't like spending them when I don't have to, but in late games, you usually have 1 to spend. You also have to assign the pal. Stand all pals assigned this turn. Until the end of the turn, they can't be assigned again and have to attack, which is kind of a downside, but it's definitely not bad. The soul is not that much to spend. Assigning 1 pal is not that much. And keep in mind, you immediately stand that assigned pal. If you have other structures that take assigning, like a red-green, this instantly gets a lot of value. I think Vigilance, where you can attack and then stand your pal at the end of the turn, is one of the strongest skills. And this is a marginally worse version of that because you have to assign the pal to do it. But keep in mind, if you only have 2 structures that need pals to be assigned and you only stand 2, you can still use your other pals to attack, and you have to. That's the downside too, is you have to attack with all your pals, so you don't get very good defense. But it's still very threatening to your opponent if you have the structures that make use of it. It doesn't give any strike or any power ability, so it's not broken. It's better than the B tiers. I think it's not as good as Weapon Workbench just because you have to assign them and you have to attack. Oh no, it's definitely not A tier. B tier is fair. I'm gonna put it. It's definitely stronger than the C tier ones. I'm gonna put it behind the No Pals Beyond sign, just because I don't like that you have to attack with all your pals. I think it's too easy for your opponent to counterattack, and then it's a back and forth. And it's worth it if you have a lot of pals out at once. You have to use it in a deck that has structures that need assigning. If you put it in that deck, it's probably better than No Pals Beyond. It's just not that splashable, if that makes sense. But we're keeping this in the context of using it right, and I think it deserves that. It's not as good as the resource ones, but it's not bad. Next, we have the mounted machine gun, which I love the art for this one a lot. I think it's one of my favorite parallels. This one is a 4 cost, which, like I said before, I don't love anything that's 4 or more unless it's really good, but this one is good. 1,000 health is not nothing. It's not that much, but it's not bad. Once a turn, assign a pal and consume any number of materials. This is what I was saying earlier, that sometimes you want to store up because you can use more than 3 materials, unlike the ingredients. Perform any pals of your opponents. You can do more than 1, by the way. It says choose 1, but that's just for the first time you use it. You can do it any number of times as you have materials. So perform any number of those pals, deal 500 damage for every material. So if you pay 6 material, you can pay 10, you can pay 12. If you have it, you only have to assign the 1 pal. And then you get to do 500 damage for any number of those materials. This is a board wipe. If you have the materials, this is a board wipe and it's flexible. You can do 500 to 1 to kill it. You can do 500 to 1 to weaken it. You can do 500, 1,000, 1,500 and kill 3 pals. If you have the materials, this is fantastic. And then if it's out, your opponent can see it and they know it's a threat. You can use 4 and kill basically any pal in the game. You can kill a Mamorist. You can kill a Grisbolt pretty easily. It can kill anything your opponent has, and if you have the materials to spend, you can kill more than 1. So they have to immediately spend their next turn trying to kill this, I think. And if you have a Stone Pit out, or if you have a Flame Cauldron or something, you can keep gaining materials. You can only use 1 if you want. You can use 2. It's going to get value every turn. And after the first turn where you don't even have to spend the souls, I think this is a great card. It's an immediate threat that they have to recognize. And for that, I think it goes to A tier. And because it can still do stuff with an empty field and 1 pal, if you have the materials, I think it goes in front of Weapon Workbench. I still think Stone Pit and Very Plantation are essential, but it goes in front of them. Everything else. It's a threat that your opponent has to use, has to focus on, and that's worth it. On to purple. Purple is interesting. I keep trying to make decks and trying to figure out where to use purple. I think it's strong. It's just, it's other than the nocturnal stuff, it's not that focused. Ingredients is so focused, even materials, you can build a deck around it. Purple, these are good cards, but you don't usually make a deck around it except for the nocturnal stuff. And I don't currently think nocturnal is as strong as the resources, the ingredients and materials, but we'll get into that. We're going to start with the Hanging Trap. So this is a 2 cost, only 900 health, but not bad. assign a pal once a turn. If there are no pals exiled by this, you can choose one of your opposing pals and exile it. Exiling should be stronger than sending to the graveyard. Right now, there's no way in your own deck to get your exile pals back. Sadly, exiling right now, it's too limited of a card pool. The only 2 cards that I know of that can exile are this and the other purple structure. And when the structure gets destroyed, the exile pal comes back both times. And that is awful. You get your exile pal back too. So that's the upside. Actually, you don't even have to exile your pal with this one. That's the other purple structure. So this one is just you assign it and you exile your opponent's pal. And then if this gets destroyed, it gets to come back. It says once a turn, but that's mostly a lie, at least for right now, because you only can do it if you exile no other pals. It's only 2. You can use it on a big threat. You can assign a weak pal and it doesn't even die. But then you kind of have to protect this. It's good for getting rid of one big threat you don't want to deal with right now. But I think at 900 health, it's too easy to be destroyed. So I can't put it higher than C. Is it better than Campfire or Antique Mirror? Yes. It does. It has a bigger immediate impact. You can use it on a big threatening pal, and that's worth it. But it's not broken. Definitely not broken, at least until we get better exile support, which I don't think is going to happen for several sets. Next, we have the Shoddy Bed. There are 2 purple structures that deal with the nocturnal archetype, if you will, where they gain 300 attack if it's nighttime, and a couple other pals get special like on deploys or end of turn auto abilities if it's nighttime. It's interesting. I think it's going to keep getting support, and it might turn pretty good. We'll see. So once a turn, you put the top 3 cards of your deck, you pitch them into your graveyard, and it becomes night. So if you can make use of it, it has to be this turn. Keep in mind, because it ends at your opponent's end of their turn. If you can make use of it, nighttime can be pretty good. You don't have to assign a pal, and that immediately makes any structure way stronger if you don't have to assign a pal. The other thing is, if you have a nocturnal pal in the rest state, you get to draw a card, and drawing is always moderately useful. I don't think it is broken in this game as much as some card games. In some games, drawing 1 card is everything. In this one, it's still decently strong, but if you spend the 3 souls every turn, you can get 2 cards a turn, and then there's lots of searchers, there's lots of look through the top 5 cards of your deck, or draw the first 2, or so I don't think drawing a card is broken. And the nocturnal pal, it has to be nocturnal, so not every pal, and it has to be in the rest state. I mean, you have to attack or assign it. It's not that broken. It only costs 2 souls, so it's not bad. And you can reuse it. And the big thing with nocturnal pals is you want it to be night every time. You can use this every turn, so it's not bad. And getting a free card draw every turn, so you can get up to like 3 a turn, that is good. Yeah, it's better than B because you don't have to assign a pal. And if you have cards that like to be pitched from your deck, like Elise Punk, you get a little advantage there. So at a minimum, I think it goes in A, probably. It's just not as good as the other ones. I'm going to put it at the bottom of A. I think that's fair for now, just because Nocturnal is not weak right now. It's not good, but it's not weak. Next, we have the Viewing Cage, which is the other method of exiling. It costs 3 instead of 2 souls. It has 1,300 power, so it's a little meatier. Your opponent has to work a little stronger to get their exile pal back. And the other big upside is you can do it more than once, unlike the Hanging Trap. You do have to exile your pal. And if you want to exile an opponent's pal, you have to exile a moderately strong pal of yours, because theirs can only be 2 stronger than the one that you exile. So that automatically kind of makes it a little worse. If you want to get rid of an 8, you have to exile a 6. If you have 6s that have good on deploys, or a 5, say like a Chillet or something, where you already used its main value, which is the on deploy, and now you're willing to exile it, then this is good. And keep in mind that when this leaves the base, all of those exiled ones go back to your hand. So you can reuse the on deploy as long as you want to spend it. The fact that it goes back to your hand is probably better than being back to your base, just because you don't want your opponents to go back to their base. They have to still spend the souls to use it. It's better than the hanging trap. It's got more health. You can do it more than once. You can exile problematic ones of your opponents, like a Menacing, like a Lee's Punk, and avoid their benefits. And you get on deploys back to your hand if those are the ones you exile. So it's definitely better than the hanging trap. Is it? Yeah, it's at least B. Is it better than the alarm bell? I'm going to say yes. Is it better than the flame cauldron? I'm going to say yes, because you get your cards back. I'm not going to put it above the ranch, but it's at least middle of B. It's a lot better than the hanging trap, at a minimum. Next, we have the one that's probably the hardest for me to rank. It's the wooden wall. It costs 3. It has 300 health, and it has taunt. And if it dies, you get a card. Like I said before, drawing a card is not bad, but it's not game breaking. Taunt, I think, is way more useful on a big PAL than a 300 health structure. They can have any PAL basically beat over 300, almost any of them. If you want to waste your PALs to defend the wooden wall and block for it, you can, but it kind of makes it not worth it to use the taunt. It gives you a little bit of, you can try to make your opponent play around it, but it's not strong. You can't come back with this. If you are down and you're losing and you need a top deck that's good, this is not going to save you. It's not strong enough. If this cost 1 and had the card draw, it'd be worth it. It'd at least be B tier. If this had 1,000 health and really made them play around it, it'd be better. If it had 1,500 health, it'd be even better. Then it'd probably be maybe A tier. But I think right now the only really good way to use taunt is on a really beefy PAL where your opponent has to use 7, 8 souls or 2 or 3 PALs or some kind of combo resources to get rid of it. It's not strong enough right now. I think there's going to be better walls in the future probably. It's not worth it right now. I can't put it any higher than D tier. It's not F tier, but it's D tier. I want to think that you can play around it, that you can make your opponent have to focus on this, have to waste a PAL. But unless you have a really good control base with a lot of PALs that kind of limit, maybe in the future it'll be better. Right now it's not good. I'm going to put it below Antique Dresser. At least Antique Dresser has a niche value in the right deck. I don't think Wooden Wall is worth it. I think for 3 souls especially, I'd rather have basically any 3-soul card. So it's going to go bottom of D. Next, we're going to do the lamp. This is the other way to make it nighttime for structures. There are PALs that make it nighttime too. So keep that in mind. If you are really worried about going nighttime, there are other ways to do it than just structures. I suppose in green or red, there's other ways of getting ingredients or materials too, but I think the structures are by far the best way to do that in those decks, except for like a Lylene or a Dig Toys, but they usually just spend their own ingredients. So I think the structures are still better in that. In this, I think the structures are also better than the PALs for making it nighttime, just because you can do it every turn. I think pitching 3 from your graveyard, it can spiral if you're not winning. If you're drawing it out a lot, but keep in mind, you have 50 cards. You want to use them. You don't want to deck out, but there's no sense in having 30 cards left in your deck. If you get it down to 10, it's worth it. So pitching is not a big cost unless you pitch your luckies. That is bad. If you pitch your luckies and don't get a chance to use them, That's a pretty big downside. But getting back to the nighttime, it does the same thing as the as the Shoddy Bed, and that only costs 3, no assign, once a turn, makes it nighttime. The other upside is it gives all of your pals Nocturnal. Giving all of your pals Nocturnal, it's only 300 power. Like I was saying earlier, 300 power can be the difference. If you have multiple pals, 300 power, you get to choose who they're targeting, if they're rested. It's not bad. And Nocturnal also stacks. There's no limit to having one Nocturnal skill on one pal. You can have as many. Depresso already has 2. You can give him a 3rd. You could give him a 4th. There's other cards that do that. So that can spiral pretty well. And the other upside is it's all pals. It's not just purple pals. You can instantly mesh it pretty well with any of your other colors you're working. So for that, the only downside is that it is 4 souls. Yeah, the Shoddy Bed only being 2, I think, is probably better because you can make it nighttime earlier if that's worth it to use a really cheap Nocturnal pal like a Depresso. But this is not bad. It's not a bad way to make it nighttime. 4 is not that bad. It has 1,300 health. So your opponent's not going to kill this that easily. And giving 300 power to all of your pals is not bad. Strike would have been better, but that'd be broken. It's at least B tier. It's another reliable way to get nighttime. If you're running a nighttime deck, you can't just run 4 Shoddy Beds. You probably have to run some lamps at least. It's probably comparable to Flame Cauldron. I will put it just the 2 souls for Flame Cauldron might be better. Yeah, I'm going to put it right behind Flame Cauldron just because there's not many cards right now that get benefits from being pitched. Least Punk is the big one that I see a lot. There's not many other ones. There's not that many ways to bring pals back from your grave, although there are some. So, yeah, there are some. It'll go in front of Flame Cauldron just for that. Purple specifically can bring them back from the grave, so getting them there first instead of having to search for them, that's worth it. Is it better than Viewing Cage? No. I like the control better for Viewing Cage, definitely. Okay, last one. Sorry, I didn't know how long this video was going to be. You guys can let me know if you want me to try to condense it. I'm just trying to give as much information as possible because I think this is a new game that people need different perspectives, different ideas on deck building. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do more like this, like I was going to do a tier list for the gears or the Lucky Pals, or if you think deck lists would be a lot more useful. Up to you. I'm open. I just want to see this community grow. I want Palworld TCG to be a good game. And I think as long as the community works on it and gives feedback, it will be. So any comments, anything you guys want me to do, I'm very open-minded. That being said, we're going to do the last structure of the day, which is the Medieval Medicine Workbench. We're ending it on a high note. I do think this is a pretty strong. It costs 4. Like I said, I don't like it when they cost 4 or more unless it's broken. This one's broken. Once a turn, you have to spend 3 souls. That's a big cost, but as long as you keep it around for multiple turns, which this is 1,300 health, so you probably can, it's worth it. You do have to assign a pal too, so that's another cost. But you choose any X or less pal from your graveyard and deploy it in the rest state. And it can be up to the one that you assigned plus 2. So you do, to bring back, say, an 8, you do have to assign a 6. So that's the downside of that. The 3 souls is a pretty big downside. I can't disagree. But flooding your board it's how you win right now. It's the only reliable way to play around their interrupts. There's too many good blockers right now. There's too many good interruptions. There's too many gears that destroy. The only way to play through your opponent's hand is by flooding the board. And resting a pal by assigning it and bringing out another strong pal in the rested state is bad, except for that your opponent still has to deal with that. It's really hard to win right now in one turn. So even if you have 4 pals that are rested. They're not going to kill you in that turn unless you're already low. So I think they immediately have to respond to whatever pals you brought back, and you can do it every turn. If you rest assign to 6 to bring back an 8, like a Jormoon Tide or something like that, they can destroy it, but then you can just bring it back the following turn. And if you have on deploy abilities or end of turn auto abilities, this is broken. It deploys it in the rest state, but you still get the deploy abilities. A Chillet, an Astagon, a Relaxorus, a Kitsune, a Jormoon Tide, an Azerobe, a Loop Moon, Blazamut, Elphadran. Half of the good luckies, more than half of the good luckies, are deploy abilities. You can splash this into any deck that uses purple, and yes, it costs a lot of souls, especially the turn up. Using 4 souls to use it, to deploy it, and 3 more to use it that turn, that's expensive. But if they don't deal with it, this is how you win. You do it every turn. You keep getting the advantage. You keep getting the deploy advantage. You get the auto ones. There are ones that let you draw at the end of your turn. There are ones that let you, make things nocturnal at the end of your turn or something like that. Like a Lylene or a Reptyro that have things that go at the end of your turn. It's too good. It's too versatile with any deck that uses purple. And I think deploy abilities are broken right now. I think they're the strongest ones. For that reason, I think this goes in S tier. I know that the resource cost is high. I know that the soul cost is really high, and assigning a pal sucks, especially if you have to assign a strong pal to get an even stronger one. It's worth it. It's worth it to try to flood your board with, and you get to pick the one from your grave, so you get some flexibility there. I think it's worth it. I think it's an S tier. Is it stronger than Feedbox? Having 12 souls is just really good. I'm not going to put it above Feedbox. The soul cost is too high for this. It's S tier though. I think it's S tier in anything that runs purple. That might be a controversial one. Let me know. I could see the wooden wall being controversial too. Let me know. I still am looking for more advice from the rest of the community. My decks aren't that good yet, so we'll work on this together. Dang, sorry for making this video too long, but I'm excited. I want this channel. I don't even care if it gets that many views. I just want to help grow this community is the big thing. I might start streaming. I might start making deck lists. I don't think I'm ready to make a tier list of decks yet, but maybe in the next couple weeks. Just let me know. Excited to be here with you guys and introduce this channel. I was really happy to get the name Palword after that misprint on the booster box. So, yeah, excited to meet people and talk to people. I think this game has a lot of potential. So just let me know.